Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim, and our guest today is Eric. So Eric, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on the show, Dan. My name is Eric Pacifici. I'm the co-founder of a law firm called SMB Law Group. I live in Windermere, Florida, so just on the backside of the Walt Disney World Resort in golf courses in Greengrass, Florida. We started a online boutique transactional law firm about a year ago in July. So about 14 months ago now, focused on small business M&A, buying and selling of small businesses. In a prior life, myself and my partners had worked at large law firms, some of the most storied large law firms in the world, and decided to come way down market to Main Street to help people buy and sell small businesses as part of what folks are calling entrepreneurship through acquisition, buying and selling small businesses. A very interesting cultural phenomenon where guys and gals are coming out of elite institutions like Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, and Chicago and instead of going to Wall Street, they're opting to buy what they call enduringly profitable Main Street small businesses using SBA debt. And last bit I'll say is the interesting part about it is as a part of what they call the great wealth transfer, where the baby boomers are transferring $70 trillion worth of wealth from themselves to their kids and Gen X and the millennials. There's about $7 to $10 trillion worth of small businesses that need to be bought and sold as well. So a really interesting generational opportunity that we've found ourselves at the heart of. And we've done about $380 million in transactions in the last 14 months. So a really fast start. We hope to do 500 million this year, calendar year in 2023. And our pie in the sky dream is to do $1 billion of them next year. So a really exciting start to the firm.
So do you usually represent the buyers or the sellers or both, or what does that look like?
90% of our clients are on the buy side, and that's just a product of, I think, honestly, the demographics, right? The buy side right now are young guys and gals, much like ourselves, in their late 20s, 30s, that are, tech savvy and are looking to buy businesses and roll up businesses. The sell side is a little bit older. They've been running these businesses for 20, 30 years. They're ready to retire. They're going out and hiring their cousin Bobby, his next door neighbor Doug, who did their lease 15 years ago to help with their sell side transaction. Whereas on the buy side, we're connecting with buyers on social media. So about 90% of our clientele are on the buy side.
So like you mentioned that you're working with sellers who have been owning these businesses for 20, 30 years. They might not have the best form of representation. So I'm sure that there's some challenges there. So can you just talk more about that? Like, working with people, especially because you probably have people who may overvalue their business because they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it for that much time. So what does that look like for you?
Well, there's a lot of challenges when working on Main Street, particularly for those of us who have worked up market in more sophisticated environments, the mid-market and, in professional corporate environments. You come to Main Street and, this is blue collar, get it done business, HVAC businesses, plumbing, commercial cleaning, the stuff that, and apologies to your audience, I'm a little bit under the weather, so my voice is a little raspy, but raspier, I guess I should say, than normal. But there's a lot of challenges, being an individual that doesn't have experience buying a business and convincing somebody to sell you the love of their life next to their spouse is hard. Getting, millions of dollars from an SBA lender, convincing them that you're the right person and the business is a good one. It's hard. Getting millions of dollars from investors, hard. Buying the business and then having people believe in you after the fact and, leading that business and growing it is hard. So it's a challenging environment despite being a really terrific generational opportunity.
Obviously now in 2023, there is a big movement to, gear more towards technology like artificial intelligence. So how does AI come into play when it comes to your business?
Yeah, we're not your father's law firm. We're remote first. So our team is all over the country. I've got a partner in Dallas, a partner in Tampa, a partner in the Shenandoah Mountains outside of DC. I've got lawyers in Minnesota, Michigan, South Florida, Georgia, all over the place. And we've got, staff, honestly, like in the Philippines, that are helping us with our firm. So we've integrated kind of some remote first 21st century business things into our firm, and that are working terrifically. And the remote stuff, I know you asked about AI, but I think these things kind of go hand in hand. The remote thing is terrific. We've been able to recruit lawyers that we have no business recruiting, guys and gals coming out of big law that are exceptional attorneys that, otherwise would have followed a more traditional route, if not for the fact that, hey, they want to be able to pick their kids up from school every day. They want to be able to live in Savannah, Georgia instead of Atlanta, and so it's been really interesting to ride the remote wave. And then with AI, we built that into our business. I use ChatGPT a lot. I wrote a post about the fact that I thought ChatGPT was going to burn down the legal profession, as I described it, which was, a little dramatic, but it was seen by over 32 million people. It's probably the most viral post on all of social media that day. I even was interviewed by NBC Nightly News and was on news channels all over the country talking about utilizing AI in our firm. And I'm not a tech guy, right? I've got a partner who is a terrific tech person. I'm not that person, but I am a person that recognizes that if we don't take advantage of these technologies, if we don't get out ahead of them, they will leave us behind. They don't care. The world does not care how I feel about AI. It does not care how I feel about remote work. So I am somebody that believes that when something like this comes along, you've got to utilize it. I utilize it every day in my practice, with restraints around confidentiality, attorney-client relationships, checking your work. You got to be careful. But Goldman Sachs put out a study recently on its belief, the impacts of AI on various professions. Administrative support was number one that they believe will be most disrupted by AI. They said over 47% of administrative tasks will be disrupted by AI. Number two, a close number two, was the legal profession. And Goldman asserted, and of course, reading the future is hard. Their assertion in this chart was that they believe that 46% of legal tasks can be automated with artificial intelligence. That should be, whether that's true or not, whether it's more, whether it's less, directionally, that should be a wake up for every lawyer in America to say, how do I utilize AI in my practice? Because if I don't, the world will not care. And I will go the way of the phone booth repair person if I don't get out ahead of this and utilize it. So a lot of value for our clients to be able to generate documents. I've got a local individual who needs a simple demand letter written. She was going to pay an attorney to support with that. And I said, I'll do it for you pro bono. I can gin up a demand letter in ChatGPT after reading your lease and making sure it's right, but I can gin up a demand letter in 4 minutes. Do not go pay somebody to do that. I'm happy to help. So there's a lot of inches that can be gained with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're talking about value for your client, so what does that look like? I mean, can you just talk more about your client journey, right? I mean, it's like somebody finds you on Twitter and they want to buy a business. So will they reach out to you directly? Or do they go and find the business? Or like, what does that look like for you?
Can be all of the above. As Deion Sanders likes to say, I'm not hard to find. I love business buying. I talk about business buying, Dan, 22 hours a day some days. I am completely obsessed with the opportunity, the people that are doing it. The guys and gals that are going and doing this are incredible individuals. They're a lot like me, sick of corporate, sick of, they don't care about fancy titles. They don't care about work travel. They don't want to travel. They want to have great lives, make good amounts of money, and get to build a well-balanced quality life, be a family person. And I think that's exciting. So if somebody is interested in finding me to talk about business buying, I'm not hard to find. Twitter DMs, you can reach out to our firm directly. My phone number is on this. I get unsolicited phone calls. I finally had to put on my voicemail that, hey, I'm not taking any unsolicited phone calls at this time because I can't. But I'm not hard to find.
But I guess like in terms of like somebody working with you, right? It's like, so if they come to you and say, hey, Eric, I want to buy this company, or do they say, hey, I guess like what does it typically look like? I know, like, I'm sure it varies, but do you help them find a company? Do you help guide them, or do you have a team of people? Because I'm sure that you probably have many people that reach you who have no experience, just maybe an idea of, hey, they want to get into this. So what does that look like for you?
Well, it's a couple of things. There are a lot of people who are interested in buying businesses that have not quite gotten there yet and are still learning the process. And so we offer every 2 weeks, we do a office hours where we have a big group call. We talk about the process. We walk through people through the process. We separately have a free M&A masterclass that we run where we're just teaching people how to buy businesses. We're not charging for it. We're literally sharing everything we know about business buying after having done nearly 500 million in transactions and just saying, take of it and do with what you will. Even if you use another lawyer, who cares? And so if you wanted to engage our firm, I mean, you'd reach out to me either via Twitter or through our website or via email and say, hey, I'm interested in engaging you. We'd run you through the process. And if you're pre-LOI, then, there's a lot of you and some of you will transact and some of you will not. And you don't really need one-on-one legal help. You don't need a legal bill at that stage either. So we've got different funnels for those folks. And then for the folks that are ready to transact, our time kills deals. You got to move fast. So we are built to move very quickly for our clients. So if you get into that funnel, you're going to move, it's going to move fast.
So in terms of, people, like, so you talked about scalability, obviously you're hiring more lawyers, but what else does that look like? I mean, like you mentioned, obviously you have goals to grow even more next year. So is it more so just hiring more attorneys to have more bandwidth, or even, looking at businesses that are doing, more in revenue? Like, what does that look like for you in terms of growing?
That's a good question, Dan, because we're a service business and we're a legal business, and the law firm is a notoriously bad business and it's a notoriously difficult business to scale. And what most, elite law firms or high quality law firms that you've heard of do is they've got a really broad, really, it's frothy, right? Like if you're a partner at Kirkland and Ellis, you're making 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 million bucks a year, right? So it's wide, it's very wide, and it can be deep, to an extent. You're never going to build a legal business. It's very challenging. Kirkland and these big traditional law firms are never going to have partners who sell their stake for 100 million bucks, like you would if you went and built a similarly situated HVAC business or commercial cleaning business or tech business. Law firms, we have legal ethics that say number one, we can't even be owned by non-lawyers, right? So our competition is lawyers, and lawyers are notoriously bad business people. So anyways, all that's to set the stage to say scaling a business of this nature is a new frontier. And I don't know what that will look like, but as we do it brick by brick, my belief is that the client that we're serving, it's so important to their life to get these transactions right. What they're trying to do when they leave their corporate job and they take, whatever money they've made, sometimes it's tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes it's hundreds of thousands. It's usually never more than that. And they want to sink it all into a business venture. That's a massively important moment in their life. That is a trajectory changer, right? People talk about buying a home as being your single most important investment of your life. Go buy a $3 million fencing company. You're not buying a business at that stage. You're buying a life. And if that transaction, it doesn't go well, that's a huge problem. So as we seek to scale this firm, in a sense, scale it, we will do more business if we can do it in a high quality way that protects the buyer, that gives them the tension and the substance that they need to have big levers in those deals, so that if there are issues post-closing, they've got protections. Because in a transaction like that, Dan, when you close, the only thing that's coming to save your lawyer's not coming to save you. No one's coming to save you. The only thing that's going to save you is the words on that paper. If we get to a place where we're taking clients and we can't make sure that they have high quality substance, then we don't need to get any bigger. So, and there are a lot of lawyers out there. And I think with what we're doing, lawyers will get smarter. They'll see opportunity. We'll have competition. Maybe some lawyers will enter the space. It hasn't happened yet, but it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I think we can do $1 billion. We're on pace to do, we've done 380 million through 14 months. We're on pace this calendar year to do somewhere between 400 and 500 million. So we're targeting 500 million. And I really think that with the team that we have, which is extraordinary, that we can go do $1 billion in deals next year, but we'll see.
Awesome. So in terms of, in this business, right, like obviously there's a lot of things that are happening, but what would you say is overall is your biggest challenge?
I mean, the biggest challenge that I have in life is that you're building a startup. I've got a credible team. I've got amazing partners, frankly, guys that like, I'm just very fortunate that they want to associate themselves with me. And some days I don't think they do. But we also have incredible staff. We've got a chief of staff who is so incredible. He's a young guy. He's 25. University of Michigan. He can go do anything, man. He really could. He'd probably end up as a Harvard MBA. Will be my guess for him. They're extraordinary. But at the end of the day, I'm building the startup, man. So I'm the marketing department. I'm the HR. I'm doing legal transactions. It's everything. It's a lot, man. And fortunately, what I'm discovering about myself, and this is a whole nother topic we don't need to go down, but is that I'm an entrepreneur. Like we did one of those culture index deals, and they did everybody, and then they got to me, and the guy was like almost laughing. He was like, and this guy, he was like, you are an entrepreneur. He was like, if you're not an entrepreneur, you'll be miserable. So it's death by a thousand cuts when you're building a business, but I love it. I love it. I almost can't even sleep at night, man. I just stared at the ceiling, just like thinking about life and business. And I just am 10 out of 10 happy these days. So
what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you got started?
The thing I wish I knew before we got started. Well, there's a lot of business things that we've learned in 14 months, decisions we've made. Building a business is a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Best case scenario is 2 steps forward. You're going to take steps backwards.
Right.
You're going to look at the way you were thinking about things 12 months ago, and you're going to say, oh, I should have moved faster. I interviewed somebody recently who scaled a similar accounting practice. And his ethos was, I should have hired faster. I should have scaled faster and leveraged human capital faster. Right. Where we are, and he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of us, where we are, I don't want to do that. Right. I'm reluctant to do that. I don't want to bring on people onto my team that I can't fully support with work. And I don't want to take on transactions that I can't support. And so I'm a little hesitant to hand the work off when maybe I should be. But otherwise, I don't know, man. We are so fortunate. We've got such a tremendous business. We've got so much wind at our back. We've got such an incredible team within our firm. We've got such an incredible community outside the firm supporting us, incredible clients. We're very fortunate. So honestly, I don't know that I have a great answer to that question.
But just overall, how have you been able to grow this? In 14 months, it's very impressive. Has it been mostly through Twitter? How have people found out about you? Do you run ads? What does that look like?
I'll tell you how. It's because I am obsessed with the subject. I am completely obsessed with business buying. I'm completely obsessed with the person that's wanting to buy businesses and why they're doing it. I love it deeply. You can't fake that. You can't fake it over a period of time. I can't tweet all day long and reply to comments and DMs all day long if I'm not obsessed with the subject matter. And you just can't fake that. There are other people in the marketplace that I know that share that same commonality. And we get it. You know what I'm saying? And so when you find that thing that you're good at, that you love, that you can make money doing, pursue it, because you will be successful. Now, sometimes you got wind at your face and sometimes you got wind at your back, and we have tremendous wind at our back economically right now. I think that's it, man. And then having an amazing team. I just really have a truly amazing team of all A players from top to bottom. We can't continue to always bring in A players because they're expensive and they grow.
But I'm saying it's one thing to have passion, right? A lot of people, love what they're doing and they're passionate, but they don't make any money, right? So that's why I'm asking. It's obviously for you to, so you're saying it's more of just your passion combined with sharing it with the world on social media. That's been a big method as you've been able to grow this company, right?
I think so. We have an amazing PR team. Shout out to the Notably team. They're incredible, right? They've gotten us into American Express and Forbes and Fortune and Inc. magazine, all these incredible things, telling our story. And we were on a call with them yesterday, and one of the people said, "Man, you're tweeting a lot, Eric." And they're the PR team. You're how are you doing it? You're tweeting a lot. And the answer is because I can't stop. I'm obsessed with writing about the subject matter, and I need an outlet for it. And so, if you are passionate about something that is not lucrative and there isn't a marketplace for it and there isn't demand, don't pursue that passion. That's a hobby. Do it, but it's a hobby.
Right, exactly.
But it's when you find that thing that the market needs, right? And we built our business in a way, we were supported by the business buying community. They told us what to do, And so our firm is narrowly tailored to what the community needs from a service provider. And they told us what to do, man. We just took it out and implemented it. And lo and behold, it was a success. It's, I don't think business is rocket science. It's just finding that thing.
Amazing.
And not everybody finds that thing. Like sometimes it just doesn't happen for you in life, but I think most people probably have a thing. They just don't have the courage to pursue it.
True. Yeah. I think it's like for a lot of people that we've talked to, it's literally just going out and taking a risk that most people won't do. So like if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your social media handles or the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. My social media is at SMB small medium business _attorney, ATTORNEY. There are some fakes out there, but you'll find me. SMB attorney on Twitter, LinkedIn. I've been posting I'm not as passionate about LinkedIn. So I have some auto posts on LinkedIn. You can find me there, though. I'll reply to you. You can email me. Always happy to talk business buying if you're somebody who's interested in learning about the subject.
Awesome. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting for you. Hopefully you guys have a great Q4 ahead. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you having me on the pod.
All right. Bye.